Welcome people to this meeting, whether you're watching or participating live with us or watching later or even now on YouTube. Um, this is our weekly Zoom Interfaith meeting, and we have participants from different religions and from various countries around the world, including Canada, Finland, Ethiopia, Italy, and Australia. And usually someone from Malaysia will join in. So this might be our presenter joining, but a little later I'll properly introduce our speaker, which will be Sarah Gutsa, speaking on the nature of children's classes. With this quotation here, we occasionally like to remind ourselves of this because it seems very helpful for interfaith. Quite often interfaith doesn't work because you start with the differences and look for unity. And this turns that on its head in a way. Whether through deeds or words, the merit of your every contribution to social well-being lies first in your resolute commitment to discover that precious point of unity, where contrasting perspectives overlap and around which contending peoples can coalesce. And with guidance from the Baha'i International Body. If you could identify yourself with your commonly known name, and later when we have questions and answers, just use the reaction button if you can find it. And otherwise, keep muted when you're not talking. And questions and comments should be brief and clear. And the primary purpose in this group is to learn. This is Dr. Leonard Swidler, is a Catholic professor of interreligious dialogue, and he came up with 10 principles, and this is one that we try to follow. We're here to learn from each other, not to press our own views on others. And of course, we learn primarily from the presenter. So we've allocated readings, we're live streaming, and you're all very welcome. And I'd just like to ask Veronica to acknowledge the Indigenous people and the land. I'll put that on screen. Then we'll have an item of music, 7 short readings, and another item of music before we introduce the speaker. So thanks, Veronica.
So there is a widespread acknowledgement that the present-day structures of society are ill-prepared to address the needs of humanity in its current travails. And much of what has been assumed to be certain and unshakable is being questioned, with a resulting ferment producing a longing for a unifying vision. Today, we acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation, which we call Australia, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander tribes were the first sovereign nations of the Australian continent. And the Gadigal people are the custodians of Sydney, and where I come from, which is Perth, the Noongar people. So I wish to acknowledge and pay respect to all of their elders, past, present, and future. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Now we'll have a short interfaith program of music and readings.
Lost I see me in this big world. Before my eyes my life unfurls. I look for guidance outside of me, and torn I fall onto my knees. I am single, I am alone. There's no one place I call my home. I try to learn to change my ways, little by little and day by day. Oh, teach me, show me the way. I'm but a broken winged bird lost astray. Guide my steps, mend my wings, raise my voice that I may sing. Up to the heavens, close to thee, up to the heavens, fair and free. Up to the heavens, close to thee, up to the heavens, fair and free. The days go by, I'm like a boat out at sea. I ride the waves, gasping desperately. When will I see the beginning and the end? When will I replace foe with friend? Oh, at night I cry, will I ever come through? Will I ever be thy handmaiden true? Will I scale the wall? Trust I'll find that I'll fall to my truth on the other side. Oh, teach me, show me the way. I'm but a broken winged bird lost astray. Guide my steps, mend my wings, raise my voice that I may sing. Up to the heavens, close to thee, up to the heavens, fair and free. Up to the heavens, close to thee, up to the heavens, fair and free. Lost I see me in this big world. Before my eyes my life unfurls. I look for guidance outside of me, and torn I fall onto my knees. Oh, at night I cry, will I ever come through? Will I ever be thy handmaiden true? Will I scale the wall and trust I'll find that I'll fall to my truth on the other side? Oh, teach me, show me the way. I'm but a broken winged bird lost astray. Guide my steps, mend my wings, raise my voice that I may sing. Up to the heavens, close to thee, up to the heavens, fair and free. Up to the heavens, close to thee, up to the heavens, fair and free. Oh, teach me, show me the way. I'm but a broken winged bird lost astray. Guide my steps, mend my wings, raise my voice that I may sing. Up to the heavens, close to thee, up to the heavens, fair and free. Up to the heavens, close to thee, up to the heavens, fair and free. Oh, fair and free. Oh, fair and free.
The sacrifice which knowledge pays is better than the great gift offered by wealth, since gifts' worth, O my prince, lies in the mind which gives, the will that serves, and these are gained by reverence, by strong search, by humble heed of those who see the truth and teach it. Knowing truth, thy heart no more will ache with error, for the truth shall show all things subdued to thee, as thou to me.
Do not keep your wife, children, co-citizen, and your own self without education, so that grief and mystery may not fall before you, and that you may not have cause to repent. Zoroastrian writings.
He who drinks in the truth will live happily with a peaceful mind. Like a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not moved by praise or blame. The wise find peace on hearing the truth, like a deep, clear, undisturbed lake. The good renounce everything. The pure don't babble about sensual desires. Whether touched by pleasure or pain, the wise show no change of temper. Buddhist writings.
The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the law are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Jewish writings.
He called me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that's what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set your example that you should do as I have done for you. Christian writings. Thank you.
The Lord had decreed that ye worship none but him, and that ye be kind to parents, whether one or both of them attain old age in thy life. Say not to them a word of contempt, nor repel them, but address them in terms of honor, and out of kindness. Lower to them the wings of humility, and say, My Lord, bestow on them thy mercy, even as they cherished me in childhood. Islamic writings.
Regard man as a mind, rich in gems of inestimable value. Education can alone cause it to reveal its treasures and enable mankind to benefit therefrom. Baha'i writings.
I walk the path of my Lord. I walk the path of my
Sorry, Colin, I'm not able to contact her. I think she may be having some internet issue or something.
Who's that, Vasantha?
I am unable to contact her, the speaker. I don't know whether she may
Okay.
be having some internet issue or something. So
Okay. Meanwhile, welcome to people who've just joined us, Usha, Thani, and Saroja. I thought Saroja might be Sarah, but maybe not.
Thank you. Thanks, Colin.
it is Saroja.
All right, so I think we're waiting for our presenter. And the theme tonight is children's education. What perhaps we could do for a couple of minutes is just share screen again. Let me find what I had. I think perhaps we can start talking about children's education. The readings were on that theme, and all of us were children and all of us were educated. And hopefully part of our education was spiritual education. But just to get us thinking, I found this web page on the Baha'i official site. And if you navigate to what Baha'is do, one of the things we do is we have family life and children. And not just Baha'is, of course. This is talking about everyone in the world. The family unit is the nucleus of human society. It provides a vital setting for the development of praiseworthy qualities and capacities. And if you're interested in exploring further, you can find on this page a very brief discussion about the importance of upbringing of children and the attention that the Baha'i community gives to this subject, and that classes are open for all. And for those who may be hesitant because their experience of religious education might not have been exactly what they were hoping, this page here gives you examples of songs. We listened to one of the songs. I Walk the Path is a song. There's a few others. Joy Gives Us Wings. There's a sample lesson on honesty, a lesson on patience, a lesson on selflessness, and articles to read further on the topic. Well, I'm just going to consult with Vasantha at the moment. What shall we do, Vasantha? Shall we talk about children's education?
I think we will do that because I think she has not even read the messages. That means she must be having some internet issue or something.
Actually, if you're really in a fix, I do have a presentation ready at the moment on art. If you would like to change gears a little bit, but I have given this talk before, and the presentation is all ready, and I just found that I do have the PDF on my computer. So if you'd like, I'm available.
I'm certainly interested, and that means we've got something prepared, and of course we could And Veronica says yes, and I know her passion is children's education. But yeah, let's pivot to art.
Okay,
All right.
let me get my slideshow open.
And meanwhile,
so
I'm very happy to introduce our presenter for tonight, Joe Paczkowski. Paczkowski from Finland.
Yeah.
And that's the sum total of my CV for Joe.
I will send that. I will read what you sent me this morning about your background. Is it okay, Joe?
Sure, if you know something about me. I don't know.
One second.
I don't need much. I'm not anybody special, really. I finally got my PDF, found my PDF, and I'm gonna.
I'll just read up something about you.
Okay.
He's originally from America, now currently living in Finland for many years. And he's retired, and he's a graphic designer. And he do some projects with for the Baha'i communities. So, and there is a website where there's a website where we can see what his work. That's briefly it is. He does do the graphics for invitation, posters, booklets, and book covers. So I can put the link on the chat for his work.
Perfect.
So you can see that.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's good. We can see the screen. Thank you, everyone, for your flexibility. And over to you, Joe.
Thank you. So I'd just like to say that I'm a graphic designer, and I am interested in art, and I was asked to give a presentation on art from a Baha'i perspective a couple of years ago. So this is that presentation. These are my own personal opinions, so I don't have any authority to speak on behalf of the Baha'i faith. This is just from a personal perspective. So art is a little bit tricky to talk about because it's hard to define. Like, what is art? So art is just ancient and universal. It exists in all cultures, all over the world. It's always been with us. It's always been part of the human expression and identity. And interestingly enough, the connection between spiritual aspirations and art has always been very deep. All religions have used art to express and explore their beliefs, their identities. It's quite amazing how universal art is and how intricately it's always been associated with religion. When I was a kid, I would go to the library and I would look for books on art. And I was also interested in religion, so I'd look on books for religions, and I would often find that they were the same pictures in both books, because the art has always been part of religion. But art has always been part of culture. It's not just in paintings, it's in music and in dance and in theater and in architecture. It's been in textiles. It's been employed with porcelain, in everyday utensils. Just everything man has ever made has been embellished and decorated. And so, like, it's very hard to draw the line. Where is art? Where does art begin and where does art end? Where do you draw the line? And who has the authority to make that decision? Nobody does, really. And so, like, for example, this is the interior of an Art Nouveau. I guess it's a living room from the early 1900s. And if we move forward 100 years, we see the style has changed very differently. So it's not something that's static, it's something that changes all the time. And who is to say that this is beautiful and this isn't beautiful? Minimalism has its own beauty, but the changes that took place between this era and this era were more than technological. They were also a change in the way people thought and what people appreciated about beauty and what people considered beauty. And no one artist decides the direction that art will take. Here is a picture of a flock of birds that move together, and art and culture sort of move together. Nobody's really in charge. It's just sort of it's just amazing how it develops. So here's a picture of an exhibition by Ad Reinhardt in the early 60s. And he had a whole gallery full of just plain black canvases. So the question is this art? And what is the difference between the picture on the left and the right? One is by Bernard Newman, a modern artist, and one is a motor traffic sign. So why is one art and one not art? And a picture by Frank Stella here reminds me very much of a computer circuit board. And one is considered art and one is not considered art, though I think the circuit board is a little prettier than the one that's normally considered art. So from the writings of one of the founders of the Baha'i faith, Abdul-Baha, he says that all art is a gift of the Holy Spirit. And with this light shines through the mind of a musician, it manifests itself in beautiful harmonies. Again, shining through the mind of a poet, it is seen in fine poetry and poetic prose. When the light of the sun of truth inspires the mind of a painter, he produces marvelous pictures. These gifts are fulfilling their highest purpose when they show forth the praise of God. And Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, says that the source of crafts, sciences, and art is the power of reflection. And he says to us, make ye every effort that out of this ideal mind there may gleam forth such pearls of wisdom and utterance as will promote the well-being and harmony of all the kindreds of the earth. Now, it's interesting here that in the Baha'i writings, when Baha'u'llah talks about the arts and crafts, he's often grouping it together with the sciences. And this is significant because it seems that art, in a way, is a function of civilization. The soul that hath remained faithful to the cause of God and stood unwaveringly firm in his path shall, after his ascension, be possessed of such power that all the worlds which the Almighty hath created can benefit from him. Such a soul provided at the bidding of the ideal king and divine educator, the pure leaven, that must leaven the world of being and furnish the power through which the arts and wonders of the world are made manifest. This is very interesting because in this, Baha'u'llah is saying that when a pure soul passes away, they become endowed with the power that can inspire the arts. This is, I believe in inspiration. And Picasso said that he believes in inspiration. Inspiration is real, but when it comes, it has to find you working. I understand that, and I think that I feel like sometimes when I'm working, that there's like in everything you do, it's like making 1,000 decisions. But it feels like there's somebody on my shoulder saying, "Try this, try that," and you sort of get in the flow. But it really feels like inspiration is really something that is you can tap. Another quote from Baha'u'llah where he says, "Arts, crafts, and sciences uplift the world of being and are conducive to its exaltation. Knowledge is as wings to man's life and a ladder for his ascent. Its acquisition is incumbent upon everyone. The knowledge of the sciences, however, should be acquired as can profit the peoples of the earth, and not those which begin in words and end in words. In truth, knowledge is a veritable treasure of man and a source of glory, of bounty, of joy and exultation, of cheer and gladness unto him. Happy is the man that cleave unto it, and woe beside the heedless." And again, here we see Baha'u'llah as classifying arts, crafts, and sciences into one sort of group of something. So we can know about 10,000 years ago or so, scattered bands of hunting and forage humans have been almost indistinct from the other great apes. At some point, 100,000 years ago, at some point, humans began to change in a new way, not by the process of biological evolution, but by cultural evolution. They have developed the ability to alter the way of life through the creation of tools, language, beliefs, social customs, and art. The ever-growing process of collective cooperation led to the development of increasingly complex civilizations. And Baha'u'llah says that all men have been created to carry forward an ever-advancing civilization. The Almighty beareth me witness to act like the beasts of the field is unworthy of man, and those virtues which benefit his dignity are forbearance, mercy, compassion, and loving kindness to all the peoples of the earth. So this brings us to the question of what is civilization? If art is seems to be a function of civilization, what is civilization? So when we think of civilization, we think of agriculture, industry, the court system, science, the military, transportation, education, economics, medicine, communication, commerce. All these things contribute to the progress and the sustainability of our collective survival. But why do we place so much emphasis on art, which actually doesn't really promote our collective survival in any significant way that we can point to? Some early thinkers in the late 1800s considered civilization to be like a machine, and when everything is in balance and works together, the machine will function properly. But Abdu'l-Baha compares the world of mankind not to a machine, but to a human being. And he said, the world of politics is like the world of man. He is seed at first and then passes by degrees to the condition of embryo, fetus, acquiring a bone structure, being clothed with flesh, taking on his own special form until at last he reaches the plane where he can befittingly fulfill the words, the most excellent of makers. Just as this is a requirement of creation and is based on the universal wisdom, the political world is the same. In the same way, cannot instantly evolve from the nadir of defectiveness into the zenith of righteousness and perfection. So the human world has, we know at one point, if we go back, well, we have recorded history goes back 7,000 years. And in that time, we've gone from hunter-gatherers to complex civilizations. And now we've the point where we've reached a very closely interdependent world. And what has evolved at that time isn't merely the technologies, but also our inner, what would you call it, our world of concepts and ideas. For example, all policy decisions regarding commerce, industry, politics, research, finance, education are all based on the values and beliefs of the participants. But what shapes our values and beliefs? For example, we might say civilization is the collection of what everybody believes and thinks and understands. So everybody collectively creates this civilization. But when a baby is born into the world, they're not born into a forest full of trees and flowers and animals and discovers everything by themselves. No, when a child is born into a world, they are inheriting through education, if we're getting back to that, all the values, knowledge, and beliefs of the civilization it's born into. And no child is, and if you were born within the last century, you're also born into a world of conflict, of cultures that are crashing together, trying to find harmonized views and perspectives. So because the relationship between the individual and society is a reciprocal one, the transformation now required must occur simultaneously within human consciousness and the structure of social institutions. It is in the opportunities afforded by this twofold process of change that a strategy of global development will find its purpose. And this crucial stage of history, that purpose must be to establish enduring foundations on which planetary civilizations can endure and take shape. So how does art contribute to this process? In the past, art was, as I mentioned, was intricately connected to religion and its expression, and also its, what would you call it? It's way to communicate. In the past, the majority of people were illiterate, so art played a great role in helping people understand the symbols, the concepts. But what do we have for art today? We have superhero movies and advertisements, and how it's totally become something different than it had been in the past. Why is that happening? So a quotation here from the Universal House of Justice, they say, the same destructive forces are also deranging the political, economic, scientific, literary, and moral equilibrium of the world, are destroying the fairest fruits of the present civilization. Even music, art, and literature, which are to represent and inspire the noblest sentiments and highest aspirations, and should be a source of comfort and tranquility for troubled souls, have strayed from the straight path and are now the mirrors of the soiled hearts of the confused and unprincipled and disordered age. Baha'u'llah has written, O thou that hast remembered me, The most grievous veil hath shut out the people of the earth from his glory, and it hindered them from hearkening to his call. God grant that the light of unity may envelop the whole earth, and that the seal, the kingdom is God's, may be stamped upon the brow of all its peoples. This is a quote from Abdu'l-Baha, where he says, all the peoples of Europe, notwithstanding their vaunted civilization, sink and drown in this terrifying sea of passion and desire, and this is why all the phenomena of their culture come to nothing. Let no one wonder at this statement or deplore it. And actually, I have to point out that this was written in the late 1870s or 1880s. The primary purpose, the basic objective in laying down powerful laws and setting up great principles and institutions dealing with every aspect of civilization is human happiness. And human happiness consists only in drawing closer to the threshold of Almighty God and securing the peace and well-being of every individual member, high and low alike, for the human race and the supreme agencies for accomplishing these two objectives are the excellent qualities with which humanity has been endowed. A superficial culture, unsupported by a cultivated morality, is as a confused medley of dreams, an external luster without inner perfections, is like a vapor in the desert which the thirsty dreameth to be water. For results which would win the good pleasure of God and secure the peace and well-being of man could never be fully achieved in a mere external civilization. So what do we do? The Universal House, is this by, yes, this is by the House of Justice. Baha'is endowed with artistic talent are in a unique position to use their abilities when treating Baha'i themes in such a way as to disclose to mankind the evidence of the spiritual renewal the Baha'i faith has brought to humanity through its revitalization of the concept of reverence. It is hoped they will exercise a leadership role in restoring to a materialistic society an appreciation of reverence as a vital element in achieving true liberty and abiding happiness. More generally, the House feels that every one of the great challenges facing Baha'is everywhere is the restoration to the peoples of the world of an awareness of spiritual reality. Our view of the world is markedly different from the masses of mankind, in that we perceive creation to encompass spiritual as well as physical entities, and we regard the purpose of the world into which we now find ourselves to be a vehicle for our spiritual progress. This view has important implications for the behavior of Baha'is and gives rise to practices which are quite contrary to the prevailing conduct of the wider society. One of the distinctive virtues given emphasis in Baha'i writings is respect for that which is sacred. Such behavior has no meaning for those whose perspective on the world is entirely materialistic, while many followers of the established religions have debased it into a set of rituals devoid of spiritual feeling. So, throughout all Baha'i pursuits at the moment, the family life, education, relationships, we have to look deeply about how sacredness can enhance all our activities. And this is, for example, how the Baha'is can use arts today. I know everybody's probably been to a wedding at some point in their lives. So what do you think is the most important thing at a wedding? And if you think about it for a moment, obviously it's the cake. And if you've been to a wedding, you've never seen a cake like this. If you've always see the cake beautifully decorated. Now, this cake might be the best cake in the world. It might be the tastiest, might be the most beautifully flavored, but nobody would present it like that. When we're presenting spiritual values and principles and teachings, we have to also think about that the presentation is suitable. People nowadays are accustomed to very high levels of graphic design and presentation. So it's also helpful to be to be aware that when we present something, it is also presented in a beautiful, dignified manner. These quotes are on that, but I think I'm gonna skip these for now. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I will stop sharing now. So the arts are something that aren't just something decorative. I think the arts perform a great function in the spiritualization of civilization, because at no point in human history have mankind enjoyed such a massive and great technology as we have today. Yet at the same time, we're facing more problems and dire situations than we ever have before. So we have to look beyond merely technology to get us out of the problems we're in. And that is turning back to spiritual values. And I think the arts can play a role in enhancing that. Anyway, this was kind of unexpected and sudden for me. I haven't given this talk in a couple of years, so I hadn't really prepared, but I hope this was somehow helpful.
It was excellent. Thank you, Joe. Quite a bonus and a surprise, and
thank you for
even the images, the artistic images you showed there, they would make someone like art for sure. So I invite people to use the reaction button to raise your hand and form an orderly queue. But before I go to Jung, I just wanted to share with you that at the recent National Baha'i Convention in Australia, I made note of what one of the delegates commented, and she said, "Use of the arts makes people relaxed and receptive. You can talk to their deeper soul. Art is becoming a channel for conveying spiritual ideas without words." Which, and a couple of things you said there, Joe, like for centuries, much of the world was illiterate. So seems to be a connection there with religion for sure, and spirit. All right, Jung.
Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful, for me, it's a lecture. One of the most important papers that not many people talk about this subject. I agree that the art is a reflection or form of one of the Holy Spirit's endeavor, an instrument of God. Like people praise to God through arts like music, singing, dancing, poetry. And I agree that if you want to write a poem and you want to have a good poem that reflects the love for God and human beings, you feel like the angels on your right-hand side and left-hand side were with you. And, in the old days, we are very interested in a painting of the medieval, the Euro Renaissance time, when we have few famous artists like Leonardo da Vinci and no other famous drawers that they can draw a lot of beautiful picture of Rome or Vatican or all the emperors and of Jesus and Moses. So I think your topic is really relevant and extremely important and inspiration for people who want to know more about arts. Thank you.
Thank you.
So while we're just waiting for people to raise their hands, if you have any comments or questions. Ahmed, yes, please. Ahmed's reception or internet is not great. You're frozen there, Ahmed, if you're talking.
My reception here is gone bad. I don't know why. But I wanted to say or ask you whether the confusion in the art today is a reflection of confusion of life.
Absolutely. I mean, culture is like a collective mirror. You can go get up and look in a mirror and you can see yourself, sort of. But a civilization doesn't. How does a civilization look in the mirror? And I think if you want to look at any civilization, whether a past or present, you look at its art, its music, its values, its justice system, its laws, all this collective things together is really reflects the identity of a civilization. And there that you can really see what it is. And if you listen to the lyrics of current popular music today, you can clearly see that its goal is not spiritual aspirations. It's me. It's satisfying personal wishes and desires, and it encourages a very materialistic thing. And with the rise of the Industrial Revolution, there has been a total shift in the direction of development into a more materialistic civilization. And so the arts reflect that. For example, the arts in the past were really, up until the Enlightenment, all almost entirely directed towards religion. But as mankind's focus changed, and there's a lot of reasons for this, the church prior to the Enlightenment had a monopoly on knowledge and civilization, and they weren't interested in the development of truth and the advancement of mankind. They were interested in the maintenance of this monopoly. And Isaac Newton, all these, and the philosophers of the late 1700s, they changed the direction of that totally. And so it was both a bittersweet development, because we had to abandon the past, what would you call it, the dogma, and embrace scientific and inquiry. But at the same time, we lost our spiritual direction. So it became a conflict between, do you accept science or religion? And this harmony between them broke down. And we have to find that again. So if you look at the level of the sitcoms, for example, it's pretty trivial. And that's all that's offering mankind today. And this is not going to encourage spiritual and moral and ethical development that are necessary to reverse the breakdown of civilization, because civilizations don't break down because they lose technology. They break down because they lose love and cooperation, tolerance and unity. And that's what we're seeing today.
Tesfaye, you had your hand up?
Thanks. My reception is bad. So I was going to ask you, once the world becomes united, what transformation will happen in arts and sciences?
Well, I think we're standing at the threshold of a new day that we cannot imagine. There's a beautiful quote by Shoghi Effendi that says, "It's all we can strive to try to attempt." I can't remember exactly now, but he says, all we can attempt is to strive to try to get a glimpse of the future dawning light. And for example, there is no Baha'i art today. No artist can say they're making Baha'i art, because that will be the fruits of a future civilization. You can see, I mean, it's amazing. You can look at all the religions have, after a 1,000 years or more, produced beautiful art, and you can clearly recognize this is Christian, this is Islamic, this is Buddhist, this is Hindu, but you can't find. It will be a long time before there'll be a development of a Baha'i style of art and civilization and architecture, but that will come. I don't know if I can answer that question any more than that.
Thanks, Ahmed, for the question. Tesfaye, if you wanted to speak, please feel free to put your hand up again. Sorry, I muted you before. And Vicenta, then Veronica.
Oh, thank you, Colin. I would like to give my appreciation to the presenter. It's very deep topic that we have to have for us, especially as a graphic designer myself. So very thank you. I wish he could elaborate it as the original, as he said. Anyway, it was very good for me. What I would like to say some is the presentation of the faith to the people through arts. This is the very, very important, because as our presenter said, everybody is capable of grasping truth through arts. So this is very important. So as Baha'is also, when we present the faith, of course we do it in a very different manners, but the most important is when it is accompanied with arts. So recently a woman from Canada told me, I merely don't do nothing for the faith, but I do, she said, in every Baha'i, for every Baha'i holiday, I present one art, she said. For example, for Ridvan, for declaration of the Bab, and so forth. So for Rizwan, when it comes to Rizwan, I paint pictures of the flowers and Ridvan flowers, garden, and I present it to the children. So the children may have an expression of Rizwan in their hearts. with the nature. Baha'u'llah say regarding to the nature, regarding the every beauty in spring, which comes in springtime. So as our presenter was giving us, it's very important thing to, as artists and as graphic designers, to focus on this subject, because it will be very simple for the people to grasp the verities of the faith. As for the arts and designs and for the movies which you are seeing today, they cannot be no less than this, they are saying, because the world order is defective. The politics is defective, everything is defective. So they reflect that thing. Even though the artists know that that's bad because of the income they are getting. So we cannot expect from the other, from outside, to be a good art, a good movie, good children movie. When you see children movie in the outside world, it encourages cheating, it encourages stealing, it encourages lies. So we don't expect from these people to bring us a good art. But those who are in the Baha'i faith, who know the greatness of the faith, they have to think and do very much work in collaboration with the personalities which have seen today present the point of arts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tesfaye. Vasanta.
Thank you, Joe, for stepping in. I really, it's very helpful. And I don't know, it's not a question, but it's in Hinduism and Hindu temples and in indigenous arts and all, the artwork is used, not always, but used to tell stories in ancient time. But now, if you would go into a Hindu temple in India or something, there will be a lot of paintings explain with it, and there's a lot of a story behind it. But nowadays there is no artwork. Now modern art doesn't do that, and so there is so much of change there from ancient time to now. But even at that time, the people were able to express what their idea or what is in their mind in the art form. But then nowadays the paintings are more. It's I don't think the now modern art is there. You don't have, there's no story or anything behind it. Is that right?
Well, if art is a reflection of what you believe, and if modern civilization is lacking beliefs in the spiritual world, I mean, some years ago, the Universal House of Justice put out a document called One Common Faith. And in that, they explore what is the current belief of humanity today. And they concluded that it was materialism. That, and then they noticed that man cannot abandon the exploration of spiritual things. It's always resurfaces in one way or another. But when, as you saw in that example of the minimalist picture of that living room interior, there are no symbols because there's nothing to reflect. Symbols are like a language that reflects what some meaning about what you believe. But if you don't believe in anything, then what you see in architecture today is shoeboxes. It's just square, simple lines because we're like like an ant colony, just trying to make sure everything functions. And functionalism has become the new religion in a way. And consumerism has become driving us to consume more, and the results are pretty devastating because you cannot fill that spiritual need with just consumer products. It's nobody's happy. So it doesn't promote happiness, it doesn't promote well-being, and it's pretty clear that that's not what we need today. Anyway, I hope I answered your question. And thank you for your comments. Veronica?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was really wonderful. I particularly liked you had one of the quotes, and it says, "The source of crafts, sciences, and arts is the power of reflection." That particular quote really touched me because it talks about how art would promote the well-being and harmony of all the kindreds of the earth. And I was thinking that I recently saw a newly published prayer book. And in the past, all our prayer books have been, just prayers with no adornment around them. Whereas the new version of a prayer book actually had beautiful flowers around each page, just graphically drawn flowers. But it was really beautiful. So it made the book itself an article of beauty as well as the prayers. And it got me to thinking that part of the reason we do art and part of one of the spiritual qualities or spiritual attributes is beauty. So art is beautiful, and whenever we see anything beautiful, whether it's a flower in reality or a representation of a flower, or those beautiful mosaic works that you had as backgrounds to many of your slides, that beauty evokes something inside of us. It speaks to the heart. And I'm thinking that that's probably what's missing today. A lot of the artwork isn't beautiful. It's actually very jarring. Whereas the artwork of a lot of the religious paintings, even though they might have been grim, like some of the ones that Jung mentioned, the older artwork, some of those really depicted very grim pictures, especially, if you're thinking of pictures of the crucifixion or of hell or any of those sorts of things. But even though they were grim, they were still beautiful in some way. And so I was just thinking that also when we talk about arts, I have a terrible a thing where I just think about pictures. Whereas in fact, obviously arts includes drama and music and all the other aspects of art. But all of those things, we could use them to such great effectiveness. We can put on dramas of the Declaration of the Barb, for example, or Tahirih. There are so many beautiful ways of actually doing little drama presentations, or at feast, even when we have many songs at feast, I feel our feast is far more joyous and uplifting. Whereas without any art being, as in art presentations of any description, we don't feel that sense of joy. And often if I see YouTube videos of islander people celebrating their feast, they are so joyous. Or people from Africa, your feasts are so joyous because it's so lively and full of music and full of people moving. Whereas I feel sometimes in our sort of Western European feasts, we're all very we're very reverent, but at the same time we don't show that joyfulness of spirit, which we do all have. We just don't show it. So, but thank you. Thank you so much for reminding me that arts was more than just the visual. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Veronica. Well, first of all, that Art Deco 100 years ago versus the clean-looking room. all I could see was the newer one is much easier to clean, less dusting, and that looks very attractive. But it does need a couple of bookshelves and some flowers for sure. But I was interested in that mosaic of modern examples of modern art, including the Coke tins and a few things. You included Disney, and I think Disney's actually all right. I mean, it's not all totally bad. They've maybe the reason their cartoons make money is not just because they're appealing to lower nature, but they're appealing to perhaps the higher nature. There's a story. There's someone overcoming the odds and through practicing a virtue. And some have said they're a terrible role model for kids because everyone can't be a princess, but maybe it's not all bad. So I was just wondering why you put Disney in that picture.
Well, it's because they are those are the things that are predominantly where art is expressed today. It's not whether it's good or bad, that's what's the reality of what the arts have become today. And of course it's not all bad, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you'd like, I would, after some of these comments, I would like to show, if you have time and if you're interested, of how I've been employing the arts in the Baha'i faith today. If you'd like, I can show you some of the things I've been doing, because I've been trying to do a lot of the things people have mentioned we should be doing, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. In fact, I'm very sure that everyone here would like to see that. So Yong, if you have a quick comment or question, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I just want to have a quick note here. When we talk about arts, we not only talk about physical, like drawing a picture or whatever, but we talk about virtual arts. And nowadays, we talk about artificial intelligence. It's not a new subject. It's like very old subject when we talk about AI. But nowadays, you can see a lot of things that appear on TV or screen or Facebook or YouTube or wherever. You see some of the photo or picture have been, like modified, and people say, "Oh, is that a true picture, or that done by, modified by AI?" Just like you say, for example, the picture of the painting of Mona Lisa, that's the smile. Sometimes you see the smile differently, and then you know what's going on here. But in a past, if things like that happen and nobody talk about it, but nowadays, because they raise the subject of AI a lot, so therefore, when AI interfere in the work of the good arts, then it's not arts anymore. It's something else, That's all it is. Thank you.
Yeah, AI is a interesting phenomena. I don't use it a lot, and I kind of like to explore what it's able to do, and it's very impressive. But yeah, it's something. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going
Just
to
while you're doing that,
share.
I'll make a quick comment on AI. I joined a Facebook group on impressionistic art because I just loved what I was seeing. I thought it was real. I thought, this is beautiful. People are doing this. And then I realized it was AI, and I totally lost interest because the human wasn't there.
I want to share this screen too. I'm afraid let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see my screen. I'm wondering if when I open a new, so can you still see
something loading?
Can you still see? Can you still see that? Okay. So in 2016, I noticed the Universal House of Justice had mentioned that they'd like to see the arts employed in the bicentennial of Baha'u'llah. So I decided to take on that that challenge or that need. And I started to do a lot of promotional graphics for the Baha'i Faith in the event that there's some community somewhere in the world, in Timbuktu, that doesn't have the resources to produce graphic material. But it turned out that those little communities in the middle of nowhere happened to be the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of France and Germany and Japan. And so the graphics went all around the world, and these were used pretty much everywhere that I could. I was really astonished at how, but that's because I think there was a great need at that time for them, and people used them. So I did a lot of graphics that year on this theme, and also when it came in 2019 for the bicentennial of the Bab, again I did a lot of graphics for that, and I ended up doing them in almost 50 languages. So maybe you came across these back then. I would be surprised if you hadn't come in, if they hadn't crossed your path at some point. But a lot of the things I do, for example, for the holy days, I like to do some graphics for various holy days. And these I've shared on social media, and then they're used quite a lot around. So these are some examples of the work I've been doing for Baha'i Holy Days. And I've also done displays. For example, this was done for the World Center for a kind of an event they had in Haifa for community leaders and dignitaries and public officials. They had an event, and so they wanted to display. This was quite big, maybe 2 meters high by 3 meters long. And other things. This was for a summer school in, I think, New Caledonia. Australia. What did I do for Australia? Well, these were banners for an Australian Baha'i community. I don't remember which one. This was in 2017, it looks like, because it was probably during the bicentennial for the birth of Baha'u'llah. And then for things for Baha'i events and posters, these are things I've, for example, this is for a junior youth spiritual empowerment program. This was for a concert. Oh, this is not a Baha'i thing. This is for my wife. How did this get here? Okay, this was for a Race Amity Festival. Black History Month. This was for Los Angeles Baha'i community having a Black History Month event. This was, I think, for Brazil. I think this was a book, maybe a book cover for Brazil. This was for a talk about William Hatcher. Another Black History Month, another Black History Month. Okay, this was for a group in the United States that were having meaningful conversations. This was for a conference in Africa, I think. This was for a talk about China. Oh, another concert. a talk about for a Baha'i History Zoom event that doesn't take place anymore. But yeah, so these are the kind of things I like to do and have been doing. And I help a lot of Baha'i communities with things like this because they notice that, at least, for example, in one group in the United States, they've noticed that when the invitations are more professional looking, they're taken more seriously by people outside the community. It does have an effect. One community I was talking to were trying for many years to collaborate with city officials on race amity and other social action projects, and they were always kind of like said, no, we don't have time, we're busy, we don't, we're not interested really. And then when they started to send out invitations that looked nice, people were starting to contact them and say, hey, we'd like to collaborate. And but other things I do, for example, 9-pointed stars are something I have a passion for.
You have something on interfaith as well.
Yeah, I have. Actually, was there interfaith there? I did some things. Where is it? Oh, it's not here, but where is it? I have done things for interfaith.
It's on your website.
I did a series of things. Maybe it's
on your
displays.
website.
Oh, it's on my website. Yeah, it is on my website. This is something I did recently for a logo for an interfaith coalition in Southwest Washington State. They would like a logo. So this is a suggestion I made for them. I haven't heard back from them yet. This is a symbol of the ringstone symbol. Here was a Rizvan this year I did. A 9-pointed star. I love patterns. I totally can get lost in making patterns. This is a 9-pointed star with a geometrical style. This was a Rizvan greeting. It's actually in Arabic for a community in Egypt. And something that's got me really interested that I've been doing lately, a lot of I can go to show you is I've been making devotional slideshows, collaborating with somebody. Where is she? Is it in Dropbox? Amelia. Where's Amelia's? Here we go. So here is a slideshow for a devotional Zoom program. Why can't I make this bigger? Here we go. So I have a friend who has weekly devotions, and so she chooses the quotes and she sends them to me, and then I make the slides. And I've been enjoying doing this, and I think this is something I would like to develop more. It's actually something I haven't been doing very long. There's another one. So it's nice to play with different styles and different ways of doing things. There was one for Where's the one for? I cannot find it now. Well, here's a poster for Earth Day, but I can't find the devotion for Rizvan. Here is another devotional slideshow. So I can actually make these available if you'd be interested. They're quite big files because the graphics are pretty intensive, but
yes, please.
yeah, I can figure that out. I'm going to stop sharing now because I have literally thousands of things, and you would be here forever if I had to show you.
It was brilliant, and thank you for what you did for the bicentenaries, because we certainly used some of those, and now I have an idea where they came from. Good graphic design is just something which is nice. You feel good about looking at the page, and including the typeface and the space. That was very, very enjoyable. Ahmed. I think you're frozen, Ahmed.
It's frozen.
Yeah, maybe if you turn your screen off, that might help. Ahmed, while we're waiting for you, yeah, Joe, I think that would be a fantastic resource, because we're starting up devotional meetings, and every time we sort of have to start from scratch. It looks like you've chosen some nice readings in those programs as well.
Okay, yeah, I can. I have them in Dropbox, so I can send a link. Why don't you send me an email? Do you have my email? I can put my email in the chat. And oh, it's got the capital. Oh, it doesn't. Where are we? Yeah, if you'd be interested in these, send me an email. Anybody who's interested in getting these, send me an email. I'll send you a link. I have only been doing this for maybe a few months, making these devotional slideshows, and it's something I'd like to develop more. You know, I was once interested in making books, but it's rather complicated. But we don't have to be stuck in traditional media. This digital world opens new possibilities, and if you do need presentation material or posters or invitations, and you would like some help with that, you're welcome to contact me. I'm not overwhelmed at the moment, so I may be able to help. I'm available to help if you need. So there's my email in the chat. So
yeah, I'm looking. Oh, that might be here. Maybe I'm looking for the email. I'm scrolling, but I haven't found it yet. Vasantha, can you please copy the email before the meeting finishes? Great, thank you for that.
I will send it to you, Colin.
Okay, thank you for that. Jung, just before I go to you, and also we probably need to wrap up because we're over time, but Ahmed, did you want to have another go? I think you're still frozen. Yeah, sorry, Ahmed, it's not going to work, I think. Jung, please.
I won't take long. Thank you very much for all your beautiful photos and slides. What I'm saying, whatever you want us to borrow things from you for your creation, as long as each photo and picture got your name and your signature underneath, like created by Joe, because we will worry about the copyrights. I don't know whether copyrights apply to all these slices and photo and picture. We don't want trouble later on.
Okay, yeah. I've been very flexible about this. If you're using my graphics for non-commercial usage to enhance your Baha'i activities and programs for Baha'i communities, you're welcome to. If you go to, if my website is in the chat, if you go to my website, there's only a limited number of pictures I have actually on my website itself. But if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see symbols for Facebook, Instagram, Behance. I have a YouTube channel with some things there. And Pinterest, actually. Pinterest is actually a good source. There's because I literally have some 3,000 images, and I've put a lot of them online in different social media sites. And there you're welcome to use and find them for local things, for non-commercial use. Of course, if you would like to have these printed on some T-shirts or buttons or something, you should contact me. T-shirts, merchandising, you shouldn't put the greatest name or Baha'i quotes on merchandise. I think there's a question of respect here. But symbols and abstract designs. But if you would like to use them commercially, then we could collaborate on something, because then we have to sort of look at this more carefully. But if you're just using them for a Baha'i community and it's no commercial use, you're welcome to use it. And yeah, that's okay. Because the whole purpose of making these is to help the Baha'i communities, because there's so few graphic resources available to Baha'i communities. I mean, there's a lot of, you can go on YouTube and find hundreds of Baha'i songs, but if you need a background for your Baha'i invitation, there isn't much. They're just not there. That's why I do this.
Yeah, but some of us, we not come from Baha'i community. Like myself, I'm a Catholic. And I mean, I feel guilty if I have to see people using your symbol and your work creation. Is, people, it's a thing doesn't pop up now, but in 20 years time, it pop up by your younger generation, who knows? That your great kids, your great grandchildren, why you use my father or my grandfather or my great grandfather symbol and work and creation, and why all this one, it's going on forever.
All right, that's a good observation and caution. Thank you, Jon. Testify, and then we'll probably wrap it up.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Joe, for this very, very, very great work I have shown. I follow him on the Facebook. It's very, very interesting works I'm seeing. So can you give me my email or take his email to me? I will contact him. As he said, we have a very few things on the graphic things on the Facebook and publications. So I always appreciate his works. They are very fantastic. And I am sharing for the Baha'is, and they are very beautiful also. And sometimes I see big things of them poster on the cars. Me also working in Addis Ababa as a graphic designer. So I would like to contact him, and it will be much important for me to get inspired with. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Testify. And Vasantha, if you have Joe's email address, because I couldn't see in the chat,
I just send it to you. I already sent it to you.
On
WhatsApp. I sent it to you on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay. All right. If it's in WhatsApp, that's good. Anyway, we'll Testify. I noted your email.
I just wanted to say that, the Bob did calligraphy in the form of a temple of a human being when was.
I'm sorry you froze again.
Sorry, Ahmed, it cut off right in the middle there. All right, we'll might have to use another way to communicate.
Sorry, my reception is bad. Maybe we go ask you this.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Ahmed. And look, thank you, everybody. Thank you, especially.